for the debate, sorry.
I've just been elevated in stature.
Congressman Feinstein.
Actually, a funny story is when I was first elected mayor, they were calling the roll, and the person called me Senator Feinstein. I said, wow, mayor to senator overnight.
Senator, do you want to?
I have a couple of questions.
Did you want to present briefly? Now we have the numbers obviously in front of us, but just for the people at home.
But
I'll try and put some color to the numbers if you like.
Yes, and also, when you put some color to the numbers, there are some glaring categories of approved budget substantially less, what you still think is going to come in. I'll tip you off, like unemployment insurance,
Yep.
sewer tax,
Yep.
a couple of other things, in particular. And the fact is, these numbers, when we look at the bottom line, the capital improvements are only $25,000. If we had spent all the $75,000, we'd be at break even, which is, you know my feelings. I've said that the park, there's a cost associated. You don't have to break even with the park. But if you could just explain some of those areas that we're still going to have expenditures.
If you take a quick look at revenue, we budgeted about $918,000 on the revenue side. We came in at $895,000. There are some odd bits of revenue that are still out there, miscellaneous things. For example, Seaside Johnny's owes us $3,000 for trash collection. That's their share based on the licensing agreement.
And the FEMA money is in here, too.
The FEMA money is down at the bottom. You'll
the FEMA money is down at the bottom as a cost.
Yeah, but but you see it as grant income. We just reported it as grant income.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but you'll see an additional $7,000 there, for example, because we're only reporting it as we finalize the various pieces. Okay,
right.
So there is another $7,000 outstanding.
Right, but only as it comes in.
Right. Okay. So we're going to be very, very close to our 918 budget in revenue. Wages, what's missing here is...
And even if it was 917 versus 895, you're talking about a variance of less than 2%.
Correct.
And our modeling said that it's about a $900,000 a year revenue. When you looked at the trends and the pricing and the demand, give or take, it's about $900,000. And depending on the weather, you'll flip either side of that.
Right.
Yep. And I think when Greg did the weather metrics, I think that was extremely helpful for us to be able to refine the forecast. When you look at the wages, we are missing the last 2 weeks of September because the payroll rolls over into October. What we will have is for the next report, we will have a very clean wages number at that particular point.
And that will take into account everyone?
That'll take into account everyone except for the what we call the fall allocations, meaning the 3 months, if you will, 2 months that our staff is going down there. On the benefits side, you're absolutely right. There'll be some small adjustments there. But unemployment, I'm going to say now, I feel unemployment's going to be in the $30,000 range again.
So
we have fixed our unemployment going forward.
Right, it's going back.
All right, so we know that that's 16.5. Mm-hmm. What we are experiencing now is under our old unemployment setup, we still have people collecting because some of them are getting 99 weeks of benefits. Right. So even though they may have been gone a while and we're no longer on the pay-as-you-go system, we're still paying for those benefits until they run out. Mm-hmm. And just so you know, if Congress extends that period again, let's just say they add another 20 weeks, we would be on the hook for whatever they added, if in fact that were to happen. So the unemployment thing is we just have to kind of work it out. We don't really see very much in the utilities area other than we will probably come in very close to budget on utilities. Interest costs, I don't think we're going to hit the $15,000. I think we're going to be closer to $12,000. Tax, the sewer tax, well, I think we still have some residual billing from the city of Rye. I don't know what your next tax bill that goes out is. February?
That's the city. The county's already gone out. School is...
We have like the second half of something that we still haven't paid. So that's going to come in at $30,000 roughly. And remember, the cert case is still outstanding, so I have no idea how that's going to work. Administrative costs are going to come in as budgeted. Insurance is, again, as budgeted. Operations and maintenance, there's some outstanding invoices down there. Not a hell of a lot, but you will see, for example, under repairs, building and grounds, that's where our landscaping contract is. They still have leaf removal to go through, and there may still be one more mow that they do. It all depends on how this all works. So we will see some, maybe $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 in expenses there for the rest of the year. All right. Beyond that, everything else is pretty much on target. Capital improvements, as I said, the only project we did not do under capital improvements was, in fact, the ramp. We took care of the shower replacement. And, God, what else did we take care of? There was one
Wasn't
other
there a
project.
roofing component?
There was one other project that we took care of. Hang on.
I thought there was a roof component that we did.
Oh, no, sand. It was. We had to bring in a lot of extra sand for the beach.
Was that funded or not?
No, I don't think that was funded.
So that will continue to deteriorate.
No, it wasn't funded.
No, but you guys repaired it.
We did. There was, as of right now, there's no leaks. Thank God.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that was repaired by staff, but we didn't put a project together for that. So, I'm not going to give you a number on the bottom. I can tell you.
No, because what I just did...
What do you estimated,
I just added quickly. I added another 30 to unemployment insurance, another 9 or 10,000 to sewer tax. Right there, you get close to 40,000. Payroll for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Other expenses.
Well, don't you, see, this is, well, that's why last time you're absolutely right,
So,
Mayor
yeah,
Feinstein.
so this $75,000 number, I guess probably the time you really get to close to the right number is not till the sewer
It's
tax
March
gets-
31st next year.
Well, no, we have to wash out the labor cost.
The labor cost will help.
It's a
Yeah,
big
but-
Sorry,
Unemployment
can you for next month give us an estimate?
Next month I can.
Of outstanding, so that at least
Yes.
when you get to the bottom line.
I was punished so badly 2 years ago, that's why I didn't do it this month.
No,
And you'll be punished again.
I'm sure.
No, but it's just the known knowns, let's go, and then you can talk about,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
unknowns.
Right.
We know, but just the
Okay,
known.
well, we will have that all reconciled, and you'll have a fairly accurate number, because once we get there, there's only 2 months left.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to have to hold off, Mr. Gioffre, before one more.
We did excuse for the next meeting.
Great. Any other?
Behind this...
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, behind this, you have your unit activity costs and things of that nature.
May I make a comment on
Yes.
that? I really think it was, when you really look at some of the unit costs, from the permit parking increased dramatically. The weekday 3 to 6 was very successful.
Yep.
But I looked in particular to the permits, the residents. When I look at the permit parking, obviously most of that is resident-based.
Correct.
And I think that was very positive once again. And once again, final numbers of residents, town of Rye residents that use the park and visited this year versus none. I mean, we've had preliminary numbers. Do we have a final total? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd have to calculate.
Yeah.
You can actually calculate it
You
from
could
this sheet.
calculate this, but I think that's very successful as far as the number of units are concerned. Even the weekday, there were certain things that were glaring to me.
Resident attendance increased.
Increased.
Yes.
And that's always been our goal, and that we've articulated that. How do you get the residents back to the park? So I think that's something that needs... The other thing that amazed me, when you look at the units of the seniors, that really was a mark, went from 453 resident seniors to 632.
Yeah. We're seeing a huge...
Seeing the aging of America, right.
All right, so we will give you a full group of reports. We will also, as the reports are finalized, We're going to put them on the internet like we did last year. So you will see, we have the 2010 up there. 2011 is up there. We'll put 2012 reports up there as well, so the public can play with them as much as they want.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Nowotny. Any other questions for Mr. Nowotny? Okay. Now, Reinventing Playland. I'm not sure if, actually I had the good fortune of being able to attend County Executive Astorino's presentation of Reinventing Playland for the 21st century, sustainable Playland. I got to say, I really believe this is going to be exemplary in terms of good government. I say Mayor French and I served on the commission that reviewed the proposals, and I think Commissioner French remember that I was probably the only one that supported the creation of a village, a new city on the site, and I was roundly criticized and defeated on that proposal. Thankfully so.
This would be a resident village in Playland that people would pay membership fees to actually live in Playland.
So unfortunately I was overturned on that proposal, and I also have to say, I thought the process was taking too long, but at the end of the day, it was an absolutely fantastic process, and it generated a terrific result. They put out an RFP, got 12 proposals, and I think they made the right selection. They generated from the private sector, and we've seen this in Rye. We have a wonderful human resource in Rye, from the Friends of Rye Town Park to the Parking Commission. They really make our Rye Town Park much better. And our job much easier. And what they were able to do is to tap into that human resource. And so they apparently Doug McKean, who sat on this board, this is his thesis when he first put it together. And of course, we all know Doug McKean is one of the principal architects of the change to Grand Central's beautiful ceiling. So you have one of the finest project managers in the whole New York metropolitan area, New York State for that matter, as an architect of the project. You had Dan Biederman, who turned Bryant Park around. If those of us are old enough to remember, it was a drug den.
Yeah.
And he's completely transformed Bryant Park. And then you had Drew, who was a former, financier who came together and pulled this together. And so they've got this terrific not-for-profit, private sector process, and it was the process that generated this idea. And they're finalizing the financials, but what I could tell, that looks like this group's going to invest $34 million in the park. That's $34 million. It's going to get invested that the county taxpayers don't have to fund. They're making minimum payments to the county, I think of $1.2 million a year, so there's potential upside. And I think the hope and the goal is they'll be running Playland next summer, and they won't probably have everything built out, but they'll have it up and running. So I just want to commend County Executive Astorino for an absolutely fantastic process and an absolutely exemplary result. And it's an absolutely perfect public-private partnership, as far as I can tell at least, project. And I want to obviously thank the people from Sustainable Playland for taking the time, effort, and really due diligence to push forward and put together an entrepreneurial project. And I think this has obvious positive benefits for us in Rye Town Park, but let me stop there because I'm sure you probably want to...
Yeah, I think people working together can do big things. And this is a perfect example of that. I was fortunate, I was at the Edith Reed event on Sunday, and Edith Reed, the government wanted to come in and change the landscape of that great property, and she and the people stood up and said, wait a second, we want to have a voice in the process. The same thing happened here. When the county first announced that they were going to change Playland, we actually in Rye created a strategic committee to say we want to have a voice, not to speak on Rye's behalf, but also Westchester County. And we created a strategic committee. We had Doug McKean sit on that committee. People in this room were involved. And we started to frame out what makes a difference for